Pastor asked us to bring the devotion tonight, and we appreciate it, Pastor, the opportunity to be able to do so. And I wanted to read over there, reading in Psalms chapter 62, and I couldn't help but, as I studied this chapter, I saw some visible attributes of faith. So tonight I'd like to talk about some visible attributes of faith, of what faith looks like. What does faith look like? And you have to start any kind of message on faith in Hebrews, right? Chapter 11, verse 1. So Hebrews 11:1, and Clayton, you can stay there in Psalm 62, please. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for and evidence of things not seen. It's always been an amazing verse. So it says that faith is substance and evidence, and that's always got my eye because the word is a linking verb, and a linking verb links a predicate nominative to the subject, so it's renaming the subject. So it says faith is substance and faith is evidence. So some intangible, invisible thing has substance and has evidence. So it's always been an amazing verse to me. So in saying that, faith is substance, and substance here means a setting place, or a setting, or placing under, a thing put under, substructure. Think about that. Faith is substructure. Faith is bedrock. That's what the word means. Faith is on that which has foundation. So it's kind of setting it up for us. Faith is the bedrock on which we build our lives. That's what faith is. And it says faith is evidence, and that word means proof. It is proof. That which can be proven or tested. That which has been proven or tested. It's conviction. Faith is the bedrock, and the evidence, it is the proven out thing that we know God is God. So that's kind of a springboard. So if we read these two definitions together and put them together, listen to what it sounds like, the verse. Faith is the bedrock on things hoped for and the proof of things not seen. It kind of gives you some visible, some structure to that verse. Faith is the evidence of things hoped for. The foundation, the bedrock of things hoped for, and the evidence of things not seen. So faith exhibits some true attributes that you can see. And man, I couldn't get away from that thought as I read through Psalm 62. I said, wow, Brother David portrayed some real attributes of faith. So Psalm 62. And those three here, and you can kind of look for them as we read through it, and then we'll go back through and we'll be done sometime tonight. This was a long one, so buckle in. Faith in this chapter, we can see faith is patient, faith is steadfast, and faith is confident. Three attributes, and there's many others, but in this text, three attributes of faith. Faith is patient, faith is steadfast, and faith is confident. Let's read Psalms chapter 62. Truly my soul waiteth upon God. From Him cometh my salvation. He only is my rock and my salvation. He is my defense. I shall not be greatly moved. How long will ye imagine mischief against the man? Ye shall be slain, all of you. As a bowing wall shall ye be, or as a tottering fence. They only consult to cast him down from his excellency. They delight in lies. They bless with their mouths, but they curse inwardly. Selah. My soul, wait thou only upon God. For my expectation, or hope, my expectation is from Him. Isn't that good? I said it, Ryan. I can't help it. Ain't that good? My hope, my expectation is from Him. He only is my rock and my salvation. He is my defense. I shall not be moved. In God is my salvation and my glory, the rock of my strength, and my refuge is in God. Trust in Him at all times, ye people. Pour out your heart before Him. God is a refuge for us all. Selah. Surely men of low degree are vanity, and men of high degree are a lie. To be laid in the balance, they are altogether lighter than vanity. Trust not in oppression, and become not vain in robbery. If riches increase, set not thy heart upon them. God has spoken once, twice have I heard this, that power belongeth unto God. Also unto thee, O Lord, belongeth mercy. Aren't you glad? Power and mercy. Also belongeth mercy, For thou renderest to every man according to his work. And thank God mercy is in that. So faith is patient. You've seen that in verse 1. And Clayton, as usual, we're going to jump all around this thing. So get your trigger finger ready. So faith is patient. Verse 1, he said, truly my soul waiteth upon God. And then verse number 5, my soul wait thou upon God. Waiteth here is stillness. It's quiet. It is a still waiting, right? It's calmness. So faith is visible when you portray that attribute. And it's not complacency and, laissez-faire, Lord, second. No, you're serving God, but you're calmly, silently waiting on the Lord. And silent here indicates trust, both patient and uncomplaining. Right? David didn't go out and complain about, try to complain about the enemies and go. And I know in his life he had up and down, but the patience that he's saying is wait that on the Lord. It is a silent waiting. Paul said, remember there in Romans 12:12, rejoice in hope, patient in tribulation, continuing instant in prayer. Isaiah 40:31, but they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. Psalms again, and David says, wait on the Lord, be of good courage, and he shall strengthen thy heart. Wait, I say, on the Lord. You know, if there ever was a man that could say, hey, let me tell you from experience, it's best to wait on the Lord, I think Brother David could. I mean, from an early point on, imagine early on, picked him out and said, that man's going to be king. All right, let's go. What are you waiting on, God? I'm ready to go. I'm going to be king. You said I'm going to be king. Wait. Okay, I'm going to wait. All right, I'm in the temple. I'm in the palace, and javelins are flying. He says, wait. Okay. Out in the cave, he said, Lord, you said all this. He's chasing me. Wait. I mean, if there ever was a man, boy, we have little patience with God sometimes. That silent waiting, that's an attribute of true, genuine faith. I remember over there, and you remember too, but there where God, it always interested me, always an interesting section where he told him to wait there in the mulberry trees. You remember that? And if you follow that in 2 Samuel, he had asked God if I could go up and would you deliver him into my hand? And immediately God said, yeah, go. And then another one, yeah, go. Yeah, go. Yeah, go. And then he waited and said, and prayed. Isn't that good? Acknowledge God in all your ways. Come back to that same, but don't just take for granted. Oh, God, you said I'm going to go. I'm going to go. He asked God every time. But this time he said, no, wait. And David waited. He said, wait thou in the mulberry trees. Sometimes in life we jump the gun. And this is probably, and I've got it typed, but I've read it. But this is probably where my toughest battle is this right here. It's so hard for me to wait. I like to get it done. I'm troubleshooting, slinging and gunning and going. And God says, settle down a little bit. Wait thou on the Lord. He says, I know what I'm doing and you keep jumping ahead of me. And we've experienced that maybe in your home. You're trying to get a project done and the kids jump ahead of you. You're like, wait, we're not there yet. I know I've experienced this in school. I mean, kids want the answer before they work the problem. And they're like, and some of them will listen for the answer and somebody say, oh, okay, X equals 7. Okay, got it. Some copycats. I'm not saying the name. I mean, but they don't even take time to work the problem. But I can't complain because I treat God the same exact way many, many times. He's trying to work something in my life, and I'm like, come on, Lord. Come on. Why are we not where you said? He's saying, wait. Chill out and wait. So an attribute of genuine faith is patience. It's patience. Faith is visible when you see patient, silent waiting on the Lord. So again, there's Psalm 62:1. Truly my soul waiteth upon God. For him cometh my salvation. My soul, in verse 5, my soul wait thou upon God. For my expectation is from him. It wasn't it though? Also we see faith is steadfast. Verse 2, Clayton. Faith is steadfast. He only is my rock and my salvation. He is my defense. And what does it say? I shall not be greatly moved. And that word moved here means shaken. You know, it's hard to shake when you're standing on the right bedrock. And what is that bedrock we build that is the substance. Faith is the substance, the bedrock, the foundation on which we come back to when the world's going crazy and life is messing up and you're like, oh Lord, what is going on? But I know that I'm standing on the faith that I have in God. He is my foundation. I shall not be greatly shaken. You know what, remember what Brother Johnny Pope said? It's no time to get wobbly. Right? Oh, how easy we get shaken. But if you start shaking, go check the bedrock. Go check the bedrock. What am I actually building on? Because that is the foundation. Faith is that substance, that foundation that you can stand on no matter the situation. And then he says this again in verse 6. He almost repeats it exactly. Verse 6, He only is my rock and my salvation. He is my defense. I shall not be moved. Like he's trying to convince himself. I shall not be greatly moved. Hey, many times in life, listen, many times in life you're going to have to just keep telling yourself, no, I know who God is. My God is good. My God is great. My God is long-suffering. He is all-powerful. And I'm going to stand right there. I shall not be shaken. Whew, isn't that good? What foundation we have. Sorry, I said it again. You know, David's throne and his reputation, his very life depended on the faithfulness of the Lord. Times of waiting can be difficult if we don't depend on the Lord. Many times there's a lot of waiting. One preacher commented on this verse and said this, listen, God's delays are not God's denials. God's delays is not God's denials, but our impatience can be used by the devil. Impatience can be used by the devil to lead us on dangerous and destructive detours. If we jump the gun and say, okay, Lord, but I know you're faithful. You've experienced it throughout your life. How many times you had to come back to that foundation, that bedrock? God, you're faithful. God, I know you know. And I know you know what's going on. So you're portraying some visible attribute of faith, that steadfastness. You know, God uses means. This is so good if I could get this in our minds. God uses means to accomplish His work, and the same God is the same God of the ends. So He promised us the end was good, right? He said, I can't even quote the verse, Romans 8:28, my favorite verse. All things work together to good for them who love God and who are called according to His purpose. So the end we know is going to be good, but the means that He uses to get to that end, He's the God of those means, just like He is the God of that end. And so, but we don't worship the means, and we don't put faith in the means in the process to get to that end. We have foundation in the God of the means and the God of the end, that we know that He is working something good. That's where you get steadfastness. You know, and just kind of prove this point out a little more, you remember the story of Samson? And of course you do. But over there, and what was so interesting, I've been reading in Judges, and it kind of tied into this so well, that you remember Samson saw a Philistine woman, and he went back and says, Daddy, go get me that Philistine woman. I really love her, and I need you to go get her. And he's like, and Manoah's daddy said, Samson, can you not find a woman of our own people? Like, why do you got to go do that? Why do you got to go down there? And so they didn't know. And both of them, Samson and Manoah and Samson's mom, they knew Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 3, where it said, neither shalt thou make marriages with them, thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son, nor his daughter shall be taken unto thy son. They knew that was the law, right? They knew that. But what's so good in verse 4 of Judges chapter 14 tells us something they didn't know. In Judges 4:14 it says, but his father and his mother knew not that it was of the Lord. That it was of the Lord. So, and I've always thought, what a strange way to deliver Israel, Samson's story was. What a strange way. He designed it. The means to get to the end of him breaking the pillars and delivering the children of Israel, that was a strange way. But He is the God of the means in your life today, no matter what's going on, to bring you the good end that He has designed. What a thought. But sometimes we focus on that path and that means, like, okay, this is just really hard. But man, focus on the God of the mean. Focus on the God of the ends who promised such good things. What a strange way, but He is God altogether. Faith in God is steadfastness and trusting in God. Steadfastness in no matter what situation. So David said there in Psalm chapter 62, verse 2, I'm going to read it again because I'm kind of just tying it back into the text. He only is my rock and my salvation. He is my defense. I shall not be greatly moved. And again in verse 6, He only is my rock and my salvation. He is my defense. I shall not be moved. Man, what a visible attribute of faith is that steadfastness. That quiet patience and that steadfastness. So another one, and the last one we'll talk about tonight is confidence. Confidence. And we find that in verse number 8, Clayton. Verse number 8. Trust in Him at all times, ye people. I believe He's talking to every one of us. Ye people, pour out your hearts before Him. God is a refuge for us. Selah. That word trust there means confidence. Confidence. So faith is patient. Faith is steadfast. And faith is confident. But there's misplaced and well-placed confidence found in this text. So there's well-placed and misplaced confidence. Let's look at the well-placed confidence. Verse number 11. I love this last part of this verse. Verse number 11. God has spoken once, twice have I heard it. Then He said, that what? Power, there's your confidence. Power belongeth to God. There is not a situation, there is not a problem that He just slipped up and said, oops, I let that slide. Poor Riley had a tire going in his car this morning. God knows. He knows exactly what's going on. I mean, every day we run into issues, but thank God He's the God of the means to bring us to the same end, the good end that He has planned. He is. That we may not even see what He's doing. He may be working something not even in Riley, but in me, and saying, okay, maybe I need to pray more. God is doing something good. And He says, and David said here, look, listen, that power belongeth to God. It doesn't matter. And we're going to look at the misplaced, what he just talked about men and all their riches and low degree and high. It doesn't matter where you are. Let me tell you who's all powerful, and that's God. Verse number 1, we can see where he placed his confidence. You don't have to turn there, Clayton. We're going to be real quick. Verse number 1, from Him cometh my salvation. That's where he placed his confidence. Verse number 2, He only is my rock and salvation. He is my defense. Verse number 6, he repeats that again. He only is my rock and salvation. He is my defense. Verse number 8, trust in Him at all times. He is a refuge for us all. And then again, verse number 11, power belongeth. That's well placed, belongeth to God. That's well placed confidence. Now there are some misplaced confidence in this as well. Verse number 9, he says, surely men of low degree are vanity, and men of high degree are a lie. He's saying, hey, it does not matter what status you have in life. Don't put confidence in man. Don't place confidence in man. It doesn't matter low degree or high degree. And look, he goes on to the next verse and he says, trust not in oppression. Become not vain in robbery. If riches increase, set not your heart upon them. Hey, it doesn't matter your power over men. Don't put your trust and your confidence in that either. You may be able to oppress men. You may be able to push them down. You may be able to look and say, look at all the good that I've done. Man, and if you're talking about Alexander the Great and all the others. Wow, look at it. Don't put trust in that. That's what he's saying. Trust not in oppression, ability to be able to rule over another person. Become not vain in robbery, the ability to go to take and to steal. That's misplaced confidence. Then he says right after, he says if riches increase, then he says right after that, God has spoken twice have I heard this, that power, remember where to put your confidence. Power, not in man, not in the conquering, not in low degree, not in high degree, it's not in money. Power belongeth to God. That's where confidence is. You remember Jeremiah 17:5, thus saith the Lord, cursed the man that trusteth in man, and maketh flesh his arm, whose heart departed from the Lord. And then verse 7, blessed is the man that trusteth in the Lord, whose hope the Lord is. And sometimes, I've got 5 minutes to do this, we're doing right, we're doing good. Sometimes we can begin to be lax in our confidence, right? If we're honest, because we get shaky. We get shaky and we become getting lax in our confidence. And it was really interesting, a study on when Jesus said, O ye of little faith, or O thou of little faith. And studying that out, it's mostly in Matthew. Luke repeats one of them, but the rest of them are all in Matthew. So Matthew recorded these, and there's four scenarios in which Jesus said, ye of little faith, or thou of little faith. Listen to, I'm going to read you the verses and then give you the point behind it and go on. But listen, Matthew 6, 28 through 30. And why? And these will ring a bell, and you'll know right what we're talking about. Why take ye thought for raiment? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They toil not, neither do they spin. But yet I say unto you, even Solomon in all of his glory was not arrayed like one of these. Wherefore, if God so clothed the grass of the field, which today is, and tomorrow is cast into the oven, shall He not much more clothe you, O ye of little faith? Hey, don't lack confidence in God's provisions. And these are all P's, so Uncle Marlon, he'll approve. Don't lack confidence. So visible attribute of faith is confidence, but well-placed confidence. Don't lack confidence in God's provisions. He said, if I clothe these, you'll think I'm going to provide for you. Matthew 8:25 and 26. And His disciples came to Him and awoke Him, saying, Lord, save us, we perish. On the boat with the Master. Hey, I'm guilty. And He said unto them, why are ye fearful, O ye of little faith? Then He arose and He rebuked the winds and the seas, and there was a great calm. Listen, God clothes a lily. Don't get shaky in your confidence for God to provide. Don't get shaky in your confidence that God will protect. God, He is in control. You're in the boat with the Master. He said, why are you fearful? You're not understanding that I am. And David said, power belongeth to God. Then in Matthew 16, 6 through 10, then Jesus said unto them, take heed and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees. And they reasoned among themselves, saying, it was because we have taken no bread. When Jesus perceived, He said unto them, O ye of little faith, why reason ye among yourselves, because ye have brought no bread? Do you not understand, neither remember the 5 loaves and the 5,000? He's going, I just did this miracle, and you're thinking I can't bring some bread. Isn't that how we do? I'm telling you, guilty right here. And He said, how many baskets you took up? Neither the 7 loaves and the 4,000, how many baskets you took up? Hey, don't lack confidence in God's power either. In His provision, His protection, and His power over our lives. Ain't that how we are? We go through and God will do some great work in our lives, and then we get on something, we get all shaky. God's going, do you not remember yesterday? I just turned 5 loaves, fed 5,000, and you took up baskets left over, and you're wondering, oh no, we didn't bring bread. He said, oh, ye of little faith. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? The last one here, Matthew 14, 28 through 21. And Peter answered Him and said, Lord, if it be Thou, bid me come unto Thee on the water. And He said, come. And when Peter was come down out of the ship, he walked on the water. Isn't that amazing? To go to Jesus. But when he saw the wind boisterous, he was afraid. And beginning to sink, he cried, saying, Lord, save me. And immediately Jesus stretched forth His hand and caught him and said unto him, O thou of little faith, wherefore didst thou doubt? Oh, so many times I've had to say, Father, help me. He goes, why are you doubting? Don't lack confidence in my preeminence either. I am all powerful. I am in all control. There is nothing out of my reach. Doesn't matter. You may look at the natural storm and the natural wave and go, how in the world? And it's amazing me how the Israelites, they crossed on dry land. You know why? Every molecule of H2O did exactly what the all-powerful, preeminent God said to do. Split. That means the water in the mud had to dry too. It had to take out too. So they walked across on dry land because our God is all-powerful. Don't lack confidence, because David said, remember, that power belongeth unto God. So there's 3 attributes there, and I'll skip down. 3 attributes there revealed to us in Psalm 62 that show us some visible, what faith looks like. What does faith look like? Faith is intangible, this invisible, but we can see it visible in the lives of people around us. Faith is patient. Faith is steadfast, and faith is confident, but well-placed confidence, but confident. All right, well, thank you so much for listening tonight. I hope something